Hot housing's an industry proven technique used for getting people, customers, internal people in an organisation of technical and non-technical backgrounds all working together to come up with solutions. We first tried an adaptation of this with BT and also with PepsiCo, DHL and Cisco, and it worked very well. It's all about putting people together, making them work hard, challenging timescales, and guess what? Have fun. So what we're going to do is run very quickly through a hothouse agenda. The key points are that whatever lengths, it really is led by the students themselves, working hard under time pressure, active engagement, actually doing something, working with others, and 100% engagement with the team. And you can see in the activity that we're looking at the moment, looking at sport, looking at bouncing ball, the engagement of the kids is kind of a joy to see. So we look at that concentration level, and that's a really good thing. This really engages the kids, and they're going to have to look at the best ways of measuring the bouncing ball, presenting the work, giving feedback to others. It's a really great opportunity. So that kind of activity would take place as a challenge in ours. How can we analyse sporting performance? But we could do lots of things. How do we deal with obesity? How can we design and deliver zero cost energy? So on and so forth. But that challenge would be set to those students, and then it's up to those in their group work to split into groups, have a discussion, and then present the first ideas on that. You've seen you'll see some of the results in a minute, but we can then inject that by bringing in experts to work with the kids, and then getting really into it, the people in the group work deciding who's doing what, who's going to research, who's going to make stuff, who's going to do stuff, so on and so forth. And then again, getting back 60-second presentations, receiving feedback and discussing that teamwork and experience. And so it goes on. So for example, when we're looking at analysing sporting performance in the previous section, and I asked you what kind of things that you measured, would you have come up with, okay, the skills like shooting accuracy, but also thinking about body mass index or about discipline? Well, this work was chosen and collected and analysed by the children, not just by themselves, but working together, working with adults, and coming up with something which really is, in my opinion, really quite impressive. Now, this kind of intense activity, again, we can use various stimuli to bring into that. So we have the first workshop, which might be a kick-off. The next workshop might be really looking at the kinds of things that we've been looking at already, the video capture, the tracker, the GeoGebra, and all the time comparing it with real-life examples to fire up the kids. And then from then on, it really is up to the students' own initiative. So of course, they might have started spoon-fed with the netball activity, but then they're coming up with their own stuff. And a 4 half-day workshop might be that welcome and objectives, the challenges we've discussed before, the workshop 2, the video capture, so on and so forth, with the presentations, always presenting back, working together, and then it then becomes very much individualized, where it really is up to the motivation of the pupil, where we really are supporting those kids' work in their own creativity, and then coming up with their work. Now again, the interesting thing about this is if you look at the documentation of one of the kind of outputs of this, which you can read, it contains the background, the approach which we've been talking about, the use of real life studies, and then coming up to the agenda, the sessions themselves, and then also the outputs that the students came out with. And these, remember, are 15-year-olds coming up with stuff on flying paper planes, stuff on solar and lunar eclipse, visualization of maths and science concepts, so on and so forth, but all really quite impressive stuff. Now we've got more that you can have a look at, but that's the kind of approach, that hot housing project framework of maybe 4 workshops, which we fit those technical activities into. Now we have more detail and information on the International STEM Framework, which really is the Programme for International Student Assessment, which is really saying that we've got to focus on things like problem solving, creative activity and so on. And then my document on communication and collaboration, which talks about how might we actually do that. So, in summary, this housing intensive, fun, challenging activity is a kind of framework within which we can situate some kind of technical activity.